show each of them separately to his eye. Orpheus watched him like a schoolboy, waiting to be told the mark his work had earned. When Dustfinger finally looked up again, he sounded surprised. "You write very well. These are beautiful words." Orpheus turned as red as if someone had spilled mulberry juice over his face. "I'm glad you like it." "I like it very much. It's all just as I described it to you. It even sounds a little better." Orpheus took the sheet of paper back with an awkward smile. "I can't promise you that it will be the same time of day there," he said in a muted voice. "The laws of my art are difficult to understand, but believe me, no one knows them more than I do. For instance, I've discovered that if you want to change or continue a story, you should only use words that are already in a book. Too many new words and nothing at all may happen, or alternately, something could happen that you didn't intend. Perhaps it's different if you wrote the original story." "In the name of all the fairies, you're fuller of words than a whole library," Dustfinger interrupted impatiently. "How about just reading it now?" Orpheus fell silent as abruptly as if he had swallowed his own tongue. "By all means," he said in an injured voice. "Well, now you'll see. With my help the book will welcome you back like a prodigal son. It will suck you up in the way paper absorbs ink." Dustfinger just nodded and looked down the empty road. Ferret sensed how much he wanted to believe Cheeseface, and how afraid he was of another disappointment. "What about me?" Ferret went up to him. "He did write something about me, too, didn't he? Did you check it?" Orpheus gave him a rather nasty look. "My God," he said sarcastically to Dustfinger, "that boy really does seem fond of you. Where did you pick him up? Somewhere along the road?" "Not exactly," said Dustfinger. "He was plucked out of his story by the man who did me the same favor." "Ah, yes, that Silvertongue." Orpheus spoke the name in a disparaging tone, as if he couldn't believe that anyone really deserved it. "Yes, that's what he's called." "How do you know?" There was no mistaking Dustfinger's surprise. The hellhound snuffled at Ferret's bare toes. Orpheus shrugged. "Sooner or later you get to hear everyone who can breathe life into the letters on a page." "Indeed?" Dustfinger sounded skeptical, but he asked no more questions. He just stared at the piece of paper covered with Orpheus's fine handwriting, but Cheeseface was still looking at Ferret. "What book do you come from?" he asked, "and why don't you want to go back into your own story instead of his, which has nothing to do with you?" "That's none of your business," replied Ferret angrily. He liked Cheeseface less and less. He was too inquisitive and far too shrewd. But Dustfinger just laughed quietly. "His own story? No, Ferret isn't in the least homesick for that one. The boy switches from story to story like a snake changing its skin." Ferret heard something like admiration in his voice. "Does he indeed?" Orpheus looked at Ferret again, so patronizingly that the boy would have liked to kick his fat shins. But the hellhound was still glaring hungrily at him. "Very well," said Orpheus, sitting down on the wall. "I'm warning you, all the same. Reading you back is easy, but the boy has no business in your story. I can't put his name into it. I can only say a boy, and as you know I can't guarantee that it will work. Even if it does, he'll probably just cause confusion. He may even bring you bad luck." Whatever did the wretched man mean? Ferret looked at Dustfinger. "Please," he thought. "Oh, please, don't listen to him. Take me with you." Dustfinger returned his gaze, and smiled. "Bad luck?" he said, and his voice conveyed the certainty that no one could tell him anything he didn't already know about bad luck. "Nonsense. So far the boy has brought me nothing but good luck instead, and he's not a bad fire eater. He's coming with me, and so is this." Before Orpheus realized what he meant, Dustfinger picked up the book that Cheeseface had put down on the wall beside him. "You won't be needing it any more, and I shall sleep considerably more easily if it's in my possession." Dismayed, Orpheus stared at him. But I told you it's my favorite book. I really would like to keep it." "And so would I," was all Dustfinger said as he handed the book to Ferret. "Here, take good care of it." Ferret clutched it to his chest and nodded. "Now for Gwyn," he said. "We must call him." But just as he took a little dry bread from his trouser pocket and was about to call Gwyn's name, Dustfinger put his hand over Feared's mouth. "Gwyn stays here," he said. If he had announced that he was planning to leave his right arm behind, Feared couldn't have looked at him more incredulously. "Why are you staring at me like that? We'll catch ourselves another marten once we're there. One that's not so ready to bite." "Well, at least you've seen sense there," said Orpheus, his voice sounding injured. Whatever was he talking about? But Dustfinger avoided the boy's questioning gaze. "Come on, start reading," he told Orpheus, "or we'll be standing here at sunrise." Orpheus looked at him for a moment as if he were about to say something, but then he cleared his throat. "Yes," he said. "Yes, you're right. 10 years in the wrong story. That's a long time. Let's start reading." Words. Words filled the night like the fragrance of invisible flowers. Words made to measure, written by Orpheus with his dull pale hands. Words taken from the book that Feared was clutching tightly, and then fitted together into a new meaning. They spoke of another world, a world full of marvels and terrors. And Feared, listening, forgot time. He didn't even feel that there was such a thing. Nothing existed but the voice of Orpheus, so ill-suited to the mouth it came from. It obliterated everything. The potholed road, the run-down houses at the far end of it, the street lamp, the wall where Orpheus was sitting, even the moon above the black trees. And suddenly the air smelled strange and sweet. He can do it, thought Feared. He really can do it. And meanwhile the voice of Orpheus made him blind and deaf to everything that wasn't made of the written letters on the sheet of paper. When She's face suddenly fell silent, Feared looked around him in confusion, dizzy from the beautiful sound of the words. But why were the houses still here? The street lamp, all rusty from wind and rain? Orpheus was still there too, and his howhound. Only one thing was missing, Dustfinger. But Feared was still standing on the same lonely road, in the wrong world.